choices that it's hard not to look past. What is real and what is fake, and the risk we have to take. Will we know what is throwing off our balance? We cannot sink into the dark. The vertigo is getting sharp. There's something greater than ourselves. That we need. We have built up the all by. That we need. We have the highs that we need. That we need. We have built up the all by. That we need. We have the highs that we need. The high, I feel, the high, the all by. The high, I feel, the high, the fight that we need. The high, I feel, the high, the all by. The high, I feel, the
Hey everyone, thanks for joining Soundly here with another fun one. We have some interesting things going on right now with MrThriveAndSurvive and FEPE Perth. This is going to be a fun one for sure. So first of all, let me just put this out there. MrThriveAndSurvive, don't know how often you're on Twitter, but I have tried to contact you quite a number of times on Twitter. I heard recently from other people that you were considering not coming in January and coming in April, and I swear that earlier yesterday that I actually saw a video of you discussing this, and one of the reasons that you brought up for coming in April was that the water would be colder in April. Now, I don't think that's actually true, but the only reason that you would try and come when the water was colder than the air temperature is if you're trying to get looming. Looming, of course, would try and straighten out the bridge, but it won't get it all the way. I've already seen looming a number of times, which I've discussed a number of times on my videos. So good luck with that. In the meantime, I have an announcement to make, and that announcement is that Jesse Kozlowski is going to be coming back out January the 4th, 5th, and 6th. That is confirmed. He's already booked a room in the Marriott Hotel. He's going to be doing what geodesists do. He's going to be triangulating the actual window that we're in so we know exactly how high we are. He wants to go back to Little Tensas Bayou. Little Tensas Bayou, we did an experiment there last year, December of last year. He wants to go back to Little Tensas Bayou just to do some reverse reciprocal angles, I think is what he calls it. Which is basically just showing that the vertical plumb bobs are not in fact parallel on each end of Little Tensas Bayou. So I believe that's what he's going to be doing there. So we're definitely going to be doing some more observations come January 4th, 5th, and 6th. I highly suggest that Mr. Thrive and Survive would show up for that. That's probably when you're going to be able to get your best observations. Like I've said before, and I'm going to try and help Mr. Thrive and Survive out here. When the water temperature and air temperature are about the same and you have low humidity, that's when you get your best observations. That's going to be in December, January. That's when the lowest humidity is going to be. Now, he said something about it raining too much in January. I mean, the average rainfall in January versus April is not that significant. The difference is not that significant. It rains here a lot. It's Louisiana. That's just what happens where we are. Now in July, yeah, you have some serious rain that comes through, but the difference between January and April is not that significant as far as rain goes. Obviously, we could get unlucky and have a bad weekend, but cross our fingers. We should have a good weekend, hopefully, in January. Now, one more announcement to make is that on Thursday, Jesse is going to be doing a video called Clown, Frown, Found. For those of you that are new to this, Clown Frown is what Jesse refers to as the persistent request by flat earthers to see the curve from the side. So this is for sure going to be an interesting video, an interesting hangout with me and Jesse on Thursday on Jesse's channel. I've left a link to the video. If you are my subscriber, please go and put a reminder on that one because you're not going to want to miss it. And this is pertaining to the measurements that he made a year ago as he drove across the Causeway. So you'll want to be there for that. Okay, so let's get into this. I've seen this video. Well, let's talk about Thrive and Survive first, and then we'll talk about that. Okay, so Thrive and Survive has made a number of interesting comments lately. And this is, I have a couple marked here. If you watch this video, he makes a number of interesting comments. But he also does it in a attitude of arrogance. You know, people are so stupid not to understand that this is a bulge, whatever. He doesn't know what he's talking about, but he's acting like with full confidence and arrogance that he does know what he's talking about, but he obviously does not. In the meantime, he made some other interesting comments that I want to address specifically. The other comments, you guys can go and watch and address it if you want to in his comments section. But let's hear what he has to say here at 426.
For the previous video where I speak about this, as we can see, this is Soundly's photograph across the lake. You can see there's a nice little bulge here and it curves down as we go down there. On the other side, it's flat.
Okay, so we've already addressed this. I actually had a hangout with Sean Hufford where I took a higher resolution image and brought up the contrast and showed that on the right side, what you're actually seeing is a reflection. There's the horizon. This is not the horizon right here. You should be able to tell that this is not the horizon just by the fact that it's not a straight line. It's actually got some feathering here, and you can tell that it's not a straight line. This is a reflection, and the horizon's actually further up. When you actually look at it, up close, it's just exactly what you would expect it to be. So he obviously isn't watching the videos. He doesn't know what objections have already been answered. It's kind of frustrating because it's like, okay, well, how many times do you have to address the same question over and over? That's, you know, these guys need to catch up. They're so far behind on the conversation. He's just now getting into this conversation. He doesn't realize the literally hundreds of photographs I have of this area. It's in the thousands of total photographs that I have of just Pontchartrain in general. But he really needs to catch up. And Mr. Thrive and Survive, if you're listening, I highly suggest that you watch. There's a playlist of the Causeway. I've been all over the place. I've given the context. Now, one video that you should watch, Mr. Thrive and Survive. Let's go to your next comment. Play that first. What's it? 1420. Let's talk about this one first, and then I'll show you which video you need to watch.
Looking at roughly, I'd say somewhere over in here is where the video was shot from the 15th floor. Okay.
He's saying roughly in here is where the video was shot from the 15th floor. Like, there really is no excuse, Mr. Thrive and Survive, for you to think that, unless you just have done no research whatsoever. This is just another example of how you guys think in two dimensions, and you don't understand perspective compression. You don't understand telephoto lenses. I highly suggest you get up to date with how telephoto lenses work. Go get a P1000. do some experiments for yourself. Just do some observations on mundane things that have nothing to do with flat Earth and see how perspective compression actually works, because the angles are much shallower than you're pointing out here. Okay. Where I actually was is right over here, and the angle that I was shooting is quite almost, I mean, it's just like that water tower is like right up in here somewhere. So how you're going from over here to over here, it's amazing to me that you're doing that, especially considering the videos that I've already produced. I was specifically asked for more context about the Causeway. I've been asked this a number of times, and no matter how many videos I make, it's like you guys don't ever watch them and you don't ever get up to date on the current knowledge and information about this area. I mean, I have gone through, long efforts or large efforts to actually provide all the information, all the context, and you guys should just watch this video that I made 9 months ago, okay? Lake Pontchartrain Causeway context by request, where I go through every little detail about this observation. All right? Just start at the beginning. I mean,
so far we've got Factard.
Anyway, so go check that video out for people that don't know the context of the Causeway photograph. In the meantime, when January rolls around, we'll have a new observation to be talking about if we have luck with weather. Now, from the 15th floor, actually, Jesse got a room on the 16th floor, which is interesting. I thought the 15th floor was the highest you could go without getting like a suite or something. But apparently the whatever's on the 16th floor, which I think is a suite, so apparently they're a lot cheaper. So let's discuss. We'll discuss that observation when it comes. But whenever you're on the 16th floor, you get around a lot of haze and atmospheric problems. You can see really far, even with not necessarily the best seeing conditions from the 15th, 16th floor. However, if we have pristine seeing conditions on that day, then we're going to have some videos that are going to just boggle their brains, basically. Okay, so one of the things that Mr. Thrive and Survive keeps bringing up. Did I close his video? I did, didn't I? Or is it? No, this is my video. Okay, yes. So let's go back to his video. Where is it? This one here. Okay. So one of the things he keeps bringing up is this bulge, and he keeps acting like it's, and this is something that Perth is echoing as well, or maybe Thrive and Survive is echoing Perth. I'm not sure which one. But he keeps bringing up this bulge and how it has to be atmosphere, and because it can't be a real bulge, because he doesn't understand how physics works on a sphere that has gravity, in a large mass like Earth. But there's an observation that I made back in December 10th. And I want to find that observation real quick. Let's see if I can find that real quickly. Let's see. December 10th in pictures. December 10th, 17. Okay, so here we go. Let's see if I can find this observation real quickly. Oh yeah, it's going to be somewhere right up in here. Okay. Let's see. Must have been higher up. This one? Oh, it was a video. That's why. Okay, yeah. Let's see. Let's look at this video. Let's find it. It's going to be a Nikon video. Here it is. Yes, perfect. Okay, let's look at this video real quick. Okay. So from the very first frame of this video here, this is a similar observation, right? And so if Mr. Thrive and Survive, if you're listening, you would probably look at this and say, this is the bulge right here. What's this bulge? And you think it's the atmosphere, et cetera, et cetera. In order to explain this, you have to also explain this reflection. And what you'll notice about this reflection is that it's not symmetrical. Okay, so if you had a flat surface right there, you would have to have a symmetrical reflection. You're not seeing a symmetrical reflection because that surface is actually curved. This is, to me, the most direct evidence that this water surface is in fact curving. And none of you guys can explain this, which is why you guys avoid it like the plague. I'm sure you'll invent something. I look forward to it. Okay, so I highly suggest, Mr. Thrive and Survive, you get your context straight. Figure out where that observation actually was. It was from Three Lakeway, which is over here, where my mouse is currently. And it went up here. Okay, it went to just to the right side here, just the east side. So that is the actual observation. All right. So moving on. Okay, let's talk about FEPE Perth and his latest video. So FEPE Perth puts out this video calling me a liar again. The implication is that I'm a liar, but he's showing this photograph like that's what you should expect to see. When this photograph is maybe what, a mile. I think these are 10th of mile markers, maybe. Let's see. Are there 10th of mile markers? No, I don't see. These might be, are these speed limit signs? I'm not sure exactly. I think these are probably 10th of mile markers. This is probably a mile. I haven't actually looked into it, but it's also not the Causeway. It's not the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway. So what the heck are you doing, dude? Now, I don't know where you got this photograph from, FEPE Perth. But I know where I found it. Okay. I found it on this website here, Massman Construction Co. And I'd like to thank Dandy Pandy for linking me to this. Now, what you'll notice here is this train track and this. Okay. This train track right here. Where is this? That's not anywhere near the Causeway. That should be your first hint. So let's look through these photos. Okay, this is them rebuilding this section of bridge. Okay. So let's, where, look, oh, there, well, what's this photo? Oh, looks pretty familiar. Looks pretty familiar, FEPE. So where is this? What is this bridge right here? Let's look and see. Okay, let's look and see. Up, Interstate 10 bridge over Lake Pontchartrain. Interstate 10, not the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway. Let's look at this on a map so everyone understands. Okay, it's amazing. It's like you embarrass yourself over and over again. You expect people to take you seriously. Okay, so here is Interstate 10 right here. Okay, Interstate 10. Here is the train track in question. Actually, the train track's out here. This is the train track. So that's not the Causeway, buddy. This is the Causeway right here, not Interstate 10. You get it? So try and figure it out once in a while. My goodness. I mean, there's really not much more to say. I mean, I could just keep harping on it over and over again just to embarrass you, but goodness, dude. I mean, stop lying. You must be trying to intentionally lie. You can't get that wrong on purpose, on accident. It's just not. I refuse to believe that you did it on accident or any of these things. You're doing it on purpose. You're trying to deceive whoever happens to be following you of your 281 views over here. So anyway, yeah. Interstate 10 bridge, FEPE. Good job. Now, something that Dandy Pandy brought to my attention, I guess FEPE is looking into this too. There's this guy out there, Heath, Carmody, who's trying to model the Causeway. It's actually pretty interesting. He's using some type of game engine. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Oh, Unreal Game Engine. That's Unreal, right? I think Dandy actually mentioned that to me. See, Unreal Game Engine. See, is that the logo? Yeah, look. There's the logo right there. So he's using the Unreal Game Engine here to model out the Causeway, and I have to give him kudos. I mean, it's actually coming together here. It's looking pretty good. But I want to point out something that is in his chat over here that I find really interesting. This right here. LBB Store, one of the major trolls out there that would never ever, never ever admit this to me or you or anyone else. But he does admit it to this guy because he's a flat earther. LBB Store. It looks like Soundly's photo. What? LBB Store. I'm so proud of you, man. But what does that tell us? Well, I'll tell you what it tells you. It tells you that my observation validates the model. Congratulations, you're starting to wake up, LBB Store. Now, don't retreat back into the rabbit hole. Latch on to that truth. Okay, so let's see what this guy has to say. Actually, I have some timestamps for this guy as well. I want to listen to what he says right here. Let's listen to this part first.
Yeah, LBB Store. No, I mean, I guess the thing is, what we have to do now is show how how the atmospheric conditions can make this observation look like that even on a flat plane, because obviously, you know, there's some stark differences. I can't seem to get the same curve dropping away effect no matter what position I angle the camera, although
Okay, so that was pretty much all I wanted to show you there, is that, I mean, if anybody that's a flat earther is being honest, it's this guy. So, you know, he's actually trying to explain the observation in another way. He's trying to come up with another theory to explain the observation of reality. Okay, that we can work with, right? You can work with somebody like that because he's at least trying to see if he can come up with an observation that could, or some type of model. He's trying to figure out some type of model that could reproduce the observation that's not on a globe. Now, he's not going to be able to do it. Yes, we know that. But at least he's trying, right? At least he's trying. At least he's doing something, you know, worth an effort. I mean, look at the effort he's put in. I mean, look at this model. I mean, he's putting in some effort here. This is a lot of hours worth of work. That's for sure. So, you know, at least he's trying. And I appreciate that. And hey, go check out his channel. Streamed live 20 hours ago. It's a long video, but, you know, you can kind of skim through it, or you can watch the whole thing if you want. So there's some other timestamps. I got them here. Hold on one second. All right, 52:30. Just look at 52:30. Okay.
bring the camera up. This space, nothing gets closer. Anything that's more visible stays in the same place, but the gap below it changes. And I think
So right here he's doing
really
like
easy to
an elevator
demonstrate
shot,
this
right?
with
Like the
the
shots that I
camera
actually like to
peak
do.
level and show the actual horizon basically peeling away and revealing more land as we rise up. in elevation. But I don't think that we see that in real life.
So, at some point in here, he mentioned something about doing a drone shot like this. Well, I have. So, if you're watching Heath, Carmody, I've already done these drone shots with the Walkera Voyager 4.
Yeah, like 2 meters. So if we were
So, if you'd like to see those, just go to my YouTube channel. Actually, you could probably just go to regular YouTube search, do Soundly Elevator. And there you go. Have a whole bunch of drone shots. Now, this is a pretty interesting one because it's from the same angle. It's at night. But still, it should give you an idea that you're going to see exactly what you're predicting to see, you see, by doing a drone shot. There it is. I have a number of these elevator shots. So hopefully this guy will, see this and he'll be able to check it out. All right. So that's pretty much everything I think I have on my to-do list here. Okay. The one thing I want to go back to and talk about real briefly is that Mr. Thrive and Survive has not reached out to me directly. He sent me messages on Twitter and Twitter threads. He's been given my email address. I've actually tried to reach out to him on Twitter directly. He is not contacting me. Why that is, I don't know. My suspicion is he doesn't really want me to meet up with him. But I am. I'm going to meet up with him if he lets me know when he's coming, and I don't have to work or something. Some reasonable time. Doesn't matter when he comes. If he comes in April, I'll figure out some time to do it. Hopefully, he'll get with me, and we'll try and arrange a time that works for both of us. But if not, I'll try and make it. I can't absolutely for certain promise that I'm going to be there if he comes at a time when something's going on and I can't get away. But hopefully he'll call and arrange something, or either call or message me directly or email me or something, and we can arrange something for a specific time. Like Jesse just did. Jesse called up and said, "Hey, I want to come down there," and I said, "Hey, I can't do it on the dates that you want to do it. I can do it on these dates." He said, "Okay, sure, that'll work." And so we came to a common date that we can both do it, and he's going to come down here January 4th. So during that period of time in January, we should still be able to get some good scene conditions. Typically January's pretty cold, February's pretty good, all the way up to the spring, really. But April is starting to get warm again. Sometimes it's in the 80s in April. I don't know if it's the 80s, but it's the high 70s, 80. The things start getting warm during the day. That's not too bad, but the best observations are absolutely going to be during the winter months, when it's cold, when there's low humidity, and after a cold front has been in for a week and the water and the air temperature are about the same. You're going to have some really good observations, and that's whenever I got my good observations. So very clear observations. So Mr. Thrive and Survive, if you're going to be honest about this, you need to come whenever it's cold and there's low humidity, and you're not trying to engineer some type of looming effects. But even if you do, even if you get looming at this distance, I've just yet to see it. Not one time have I ever seen the looming so bad that it brought the entire city back up, or brought the curve out of the bridge. It straightens it out a little bit, but not very much. Where you can see slightly further, you can see maybe one or two more huts or something like that. Anyway, in any case, yeah. So I just thought there were some interesting things to talk about tonight. Don't have much more to say past that, but and to finish up, Pepe Perth, this is the wrong bridge, buddy. So you're gonna have to try a little harder. Why does anybody even listen to you? It's amazing how wrong you are so often. And you get people like this to say, damn, destroyed that fool. The clarity is amazing. Well, yeah, of course the clarity is amazing. It's only a mile. I mean, you're only looking through a mile of atmosphere. If I was looking through a mile of atmosphere, the clarity would be amazing too. Actually, I have some some photographs that are very similar to this, but they capture, the entire bridge. Which dates were those? That was the 12th. Let's see if I can find that real quick. I have some really cool photos around that time. Let me see if I can find it. Go back to this. Pictures. Let's go to, I think it was December 12th, if I recall correctly. I ended up crossing some point. There's a whole bunch of good ones in here. Wow. December 12th was just an amazing, look at this observation. I mean, so December 12th was just an amazing time. Look at that. I mean, you can count windows on this thing. It's amazing. And look at this one. I mean, this is 3 Lakeway on the left down here, and this is 2 Lakeway. 1 Lakeway is completely underneath the Causeway. This is the Causeway in the foreground. You see the Causeway right here? So we're looking across the Causeway, and the Causeway, which is, what is it, 15-foot clearance. I don't know how tall it is to the upper deck, but very short compared to these buildings. It's like they're 200 feet up. It's 200 feet up on these buildings. So, yeah, explain that, flat earthers. And there's some cool observations if I can find them. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Here they are. Okay. Yeah, look at this one. So this is a long exposure right here at night. And you can tell because the car lights are streaking here. And this is the 1.2 mile marker. You can see the left turn right here on the eastbound lane. And then here's the curve. Starts all the way back here. Goes all the way up here. And look right here. This is the bascule. I'm pretty sure that's the bascule. It might be a little bit closer. I'm not sure. And this is 8 miles out right here. So right at about 8 miles is where this is called the fender system is sitting, like right on the horizon. Yeah, explain that. I go at night, I go during the day, all seasons, always get the curvature. Why? Because it's consistent. There's the actual geometry is curved. That's why it's there in all weather conditions. So my subscribers have seen these pictures a million times. I'm not sure if you guys are very interested in looking at them all over again. But December 12th observations were like just amazing. They were pristine observations. Just really good clarity. I have some cool long exposures like this. Look at this. This is from obviously a steeper angle. But look at this curve all the way back here, nowhere near the horizon over here. No reflection or whatever they like to talk about. They don't want to talk about these observations because they're too clear, too obvious. Tommy, that has to be the 17 millimeter. That's hilarious. Okay, so let me do what I always do at the end of my live streams here. Let's see if anybody's talked to me. Unsound Jen Morgan, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Moon Rules, did I see Mr. Thrive and Survive? Yeah, I've seen his videos. I mean, he keeps saying retarded things, really, to be honest. Like, he keeps talking about the hump. Or the, what's he call it? The bulge. There's a bulge. Dude, learn what it means to be on a sphere that has gravity, okay? I mean, that geometric model, putting in a 3D program, put gravity on it, like, it should be basic for anybody to understand what that model is. Now, if you want to talk about there being an alternative theory to explain it, okay, fine. But that is the shape of our model, and that is what we observe in reality. How you don't understand that, how they confuse down with south, which is essentially what he's doing right now. You know, he's essentially not understanding what down is and how down changes its orientation based on, you know, where you are. It's always perpendicular to the surface, or to your, I mean, there's a better way of saying that, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Where the plumb bob hangs is not always parallel. I mean, it's not parallel. I mean, if you go a mile away, the two plumb bobs are not parallel. So down changes its orientation towards, it's always towards the center of the earth. So the relative orientation between two plumb bobs is always different. And the larger the distance, the easier it is to see. So FEPE shows a different bridge and declares victory somehow. Yes, Tony. Yeah, that's exactly what he did. Unbelievable. I'm so glad I caught the live stream this time. Hi, Soundly. I can never say her name. Darkov. Elite speak. Let me see if anybody else has mentioned me. Hey, thanks, Factard. Appreciate it, man. 17mm tilt shift lens, yeah. Yeah, I mean, MrThriveAndSurvive is talking about using a 17mm tilt shift lens to replicate a 2000 plus millimeter photograph on a 42 megapixel camera. I mean, it makes no sense whatsoever. None. And anybody that just knows the very basics of photography would know that makes no sense. So either he does know that and he's just trying to fool everybody, or he just doesn't know anything about photography whatsoever. Which is more likely, I guess. Jesse. Notice Mr. Thrive and Survive is displaying the Lake Pontchartrain nautical chart, which is plotted at 1 arc minute per nautical mile. He must be watching my videos, but isn't listening. You know what he ought to do, Jesse, is he ought to watch the video that's coming up on Thursday. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. All right, I think I'm almost down to the bottom. FEPE is not able to understand how bad it is. Yeah, it's amazing that he puts that stuff out there. Flat out hero, I'm not going to post the debate where you're smoking a bong. Sorry, buddy. Talk about embarrassing. You should be embarrassed for yourself, smoking a bong on a hangout. Philip, he's also trying to model refraction. Yeah, I heard him say something about that. Now, I've looked into modeling refraction, and there are like simple models for refraction, but there's a problem. I think it's a efficiency problem with actually modeling refraction. If you have a lot of data points, if you actually try to replicate reality, and it's because I think it's a big O n squared, I think, algorithm or something like that. I can't remember exactly. It was something I was reading about. It's something about the big O efficiency of the algorithm for doing it is not very easy to actually replicate like real world atmosphere. But I know, Philip, you guys were working on it, so I'm sure you know more about it than I do. Yeah, let's see. Philip says, Sally, actually he can do it and I know how. I wish I would. I wish I know what context that came in. I'll probably be able to look back on it later. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that you can actually I think the atmospheric effects that you would need to actually model a curve on a flat plane would have to be very specific, and I'm not even sure then it would actually work. I haven't tried to actually do it, or I haven't thought about the math even. I'm not even sure that I know exactly what math to apply there to figure that out. It would definitely take some summations and probably derivatives. And I'm not sure how to do it exactly. But yeah, so the point being that I think you would have to have, if you were going to engineer an atmosphere to force a flat plane to look like a curve, then you would have to find very specific atmospheric conditions that would have to be for their model to actually work. It would have to be consistent year round all the time. And that's what we know doesn't happen. The atmosphere doesn't stay consistent from hour to hour, much less year round in all conditions, you know. Makes no sense whatsoever. So yeah, he can't do it in the real world. It proves to him that the model of game reality is not being manipulated by Soundly. Philip says he's showing him my drone videos. Cool. Hey, Nana, thanks for the $5. All right, I'm trying to catch up. I've kind of lost the context of the conversation with these mentions, so I'm not exactly sure where I lost you guys. But in any case, I think let me just talk a little bit more abstractly here. You know, I've had this channel for I think near 2 years, maybe over 2 years. But I've been doing these observations since May of 2017. So we're talking about a year and a half worth of observations. And I've put out 300 and something videos. A lot of them are just the raw observations. I say raw, they're the original observations. Have to be careful using the word raw because these guys, you know, want to get hung up on words. It's not a raw video. It's a MP4 or whatever. But it's the original video that came straight off the flash drive. I've put those out there. I've done context videos. I've done all these things, and what they keep doing is bringing up the same objections that have been answered over and over again, the same misperceptions, and they don't ever watch the videos. They don't ever do their research and know that the game has progressed past them. The game has progressed past Mr. Thrive and Survive. He's playing catch up right now. All these things that he's bringing up have been addressed long ago, like a year ago. As a matter of fact, that the observation that they're all having a meltdown over right now was published first a year ago. You know, why are they melting down now? I think the reason they're melting down now is because I put a very candid, in-your-face video out there of just me and Jesse talking about the kit I was using to take the photograph. And it just, maybe it adds, you know, that in-your-face aspect to it that they just couldn't handle. And so they started melting down over it. I don't know. I don't really know. But the question that I have, maybe a deeper question that I have is, you know, how does somebody with a job like myself, you know, have a full-time job and have other obligations, have kids, a wife, you know, family and stuff to do. How does somebody like me combat the 24/7 propaganda? And now I know people have brought up doing a live stream, you know, a 24/7 channel, and that does work to an extent, except that at some point the flat earthers stop watching it. You know, they become numb to it or whatever. But you know, how do you get these bullet points that they talk about over and over again, like the atmosphere? They keep saying over and over again that the atmosphere is the cause for the curvature. Well, the ones that don't think that the videos are fake, the ones that are like, okay, the videos are real, the images are real, so it must be the atmosphere causing it. Well, how do you know, here's a point that I bring up over and over again, which I think is a very good point, a very valid point, which is the atmosphere is not consistent. The atmosphere is constantly changing. And the atmosphere changes, drastically between the summer and winter. So how can a ever-changing atmosphere be responsible for a consistent curvature that's actually seen there? And it can't. It can't. So how do you get them to realize that their argument that they're making is completely debunked within 2 sentences? And they keep bringing it up over and over again. It's done. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense. There's nothing that the atmosphere is doing consistently. Just think about it. That's why we have these different observations. You have looming, you have sinking, and you have towering, and you have stooping, and you have inferior mirage, superior mirage. You have all these different things that the atmosphere does and that we've categorized, and sometimes you have mixes of all those together in one observation. If you have all those mixes together and you still see curvature in all of them, like, how can it be the atmosphere? You know what I mean? Like, sinking and towering are like opposite effects. So how can I see curvature in both of those? It doesn't make sense. So how do you get them, right? How do you get them to understand, that they need to come up with better arguments because their arguments have been shot down a bazillion times. I'm just kind of spitballing here. Shout out to Jose J.G. Gonzalez. Self-promoting. I don't mind, dude. I want you to come back out here in December or January. January 4th, Jose, if you weren't here in the beginning. January 4th, 5th, and 6th, I'm actually getting a hotel room in the Marriott. 15th or 16th floor, maybe 16th floor. Jesse's on the 16th floor, so let's see if I can get one too. Be great to have you come out, man. Love to have you out here. All right. Anybody want to, does anybody have any questions for me or anything before I shut down here? The video quit working? Is that what you said? What? Nah, I don't believe that. Whoa. Yeah, everything's kind of freezing up here. What the heck's going on? Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Chrome's freaking out on me. I don't know what's going on here. You guys are saying video quit working. Oh, it's not the... Well, it looks like the video's still streaming. Let me see if I can... Anyway, I'm going to shut down anyway, fellas. I think I got pretty much everything out that I needed to get out. Okay, that's working again now. So something happened to YouTube, maybe. I don't know what's going on. YouTube won't load right. Not real sure what's going on. This is very bizarre. Okay. Well, Google's working. Why won't YouTube load? I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. I think it's pretty much over. There it goes. Let's see if it's actually still playing. Bizarre. I'm not sure what's going on. Anyway, I think I pretty much got everything in the video, so yeah. Thanks for stopping by, and I will catch up with you guys next time. Just remember, hold these guys' feet to the fire. If they're not going to if they're not going to, stay true to their word and actually come out and do an honest observation, then we need to let everybody know, point it out, and just, flat Earth is like a foot fungus, man. You have to dose it every day to actually kill it. So let's dose it every day. Let's kill this thing. See you guys later. Have a good one.